Welcome back. I am sorry it's been a little while. Been a couple of weeks. In all honesty, I just haven't been out here doing much. I did run the 5-inch Jinty yesterday. Ended up running it for a lot longer than I was expecting. So we're a bit short on engines at the club, but it did a very admirable 4 hours on the track. It failed at the end because the driver had issues. My back was at the end of its ability, but she was still steaming like a witch at the end. Right, on to today's job. Back onto the Jinty, 7 1/4 this time, and we need to start looking at a blowdown valve. Let's take a look. So as I've received this, it had just a plug in that bush there, and the same the other side. I'm going to put a blowdown valve on this left hand side bush. I want to come along, and I had thought about having a 90-degree valve and making a valve, but I wanted it to be actuated from above. So that sort of went out the question because I'd start needing glands and all sorts, which is a bit over the top for a blowdown valve. But I've had an idea. I've decided to mount this steam valve, which I found, under the floor as such. And then I will make a method of opening the valve from above. I didn't really want to go so close to that close to the boiler, so I'm going to make a bit of a spacer to bring it out. At the end of the day, if that doesn't work, I can always just bolt it straight into the boiler. I believe it is the right thread. I have to find that in a moment. But one side of that valve is only one side of the valve is connected to that steam line, so the side that isn't will be the side which is screwed to the boiler, and the non-pressurized side attached to that will be on the outlet. But let's take it one step at a time, and I hope you'll follow why I'm doing what I'm doing, because like I say, ultimately I want it to be controlled from in the cab. So what I might do, I've got a bit of bronze here which will make the extension piece, and I've got this stainless steel bolt and nut which I'm planning to weld them together, because that hexagon is the same as the hexagon on the blowdown valves on my 5-inch Speedy. So it'll be the same tool that does both. And what I'm thinking, if I can fit that to that spindle, then I can just drop an Allen key through a hole in the foot plate to switch the valve on and off. So let's see how we get on. First things first, mount that onto the boiler. So there we go. I've turned one end down and threaded it. I've turned a step on the other end just to make it look a bit nicer. Drilled and tapped this end. I've had to take the actual valve spindle out to allow it to turn when it goes into place. I've put some, I only tapped with a taper tap a certain amount, so that as this screwed in, it started to go tight in the thread, like a taper thread. I then put some tape on, I've wound it in and screwed it in really tight. I'm going to put it in the loco, tighten it up until that flange touches the boiler, tighten it up, see where it finishes, and decide how much needs to come off of this end to bring us back out so it goes tight in the right place. So let's take a look. So I would say that needs to come back about another half a turn. Come back another half, or go forward half a turn. It's going to screw in further when we take a bit off the flange, off the end. So it needs to go half a turn, and then we can see where we are from there. Now, since it's a 32 TPI thread, that's 32 threads per inch. So for every 32 turns of this, you move in an inch. So one turn of that is about 32 thou, having just done the maths. So to take enough off to go another half a turn, it's about 16 thou. So I'll put it in the lathe and we'll skim 16 thou off the end. And there we have it, tight in just the right place. So now for the controlling the valve. Like I said, I was hoping to utilise this. And let me show you what I had in mind. Now, as you can see, that's changed colour a bit because I've welded the nut to the bolt. I thought I'd do that before I showed you what I'm going to do so that it has time to cool down. So I'm going to take the hand wheel off of this. I was just going to drill a clearance hole inside this and then put a grub screw through the side, which is why I welded the nut on, to give me the extra thickness for the grub screw. But what I've decided to do is drill and tap the bottom for that thread, but still put the grub screw in to lock it in place. I might even put a locking nut on the bottom as well. A bit of belt and braces and then Loctite and everything to try and make sure it doesn't come undone. So I had also thought about welding or soldering to this spindle, but then you'd never be able to take all that apart. And there's an O-ring in here for the seal. So, although we've already discussed, hopefully it won't need the seal particularly. But yeah, drill, tap, and then drill and tap. Hopefully that will all do the trick. And there we go. That has been drilled and tapped up the centre. I will admit I've chickened out for the time being of drilling and tapping through the side. I'm going to Loctite, screw and lock nut on here. I've just cleaned with a bit of electrical contact cleaner, or is it brake and clutch, one or the other. Brake and clutch. So I'm going to put that together. If in the future it comes off of the spindle, then I can come back and drill and tap at a later date. So it's not a complete loss having put this on the side. So let's put that together, put it on the engine, and then see the next step. And there it is, sitting in place. Doesn't look the tidiest, but there's going to be a flaw in the way. So the next stage will be to measure sideways and from the boiler for the position of this. Then we can put the foot plate back and drill a hole in it, or mark the position and drill a hole. So there we are, all installed. You can see the hexagon underneath the hole in the foot plate. So that is how we can blow the engine down. So it's nice and easily accessible, but it's not such a thing that someone's going to operate by accident. So all that's left to do to that one now is make a pipe to come off the other side, to come over and point down, because you don't want it just shooting backwards up from under the engine. It wants to fire downwards. So yeah, that's what's left for the blowdown valve. That will make it easier for filling the engine and blowing down at the end of the day. So if you can think of anything that might look nice sat on the footplate that will cover that hole, let me know. We'll see if we can incorporate it. But for now, thanks very much. I've still got a few more ideas on what to do to this, and at some point I will give you another little tour of the workshop. I've been tidying, I've been doing odd little bits here and there, sorting things out, and it is gradually getting more and more usable. Even my wife came out the other day and said, "Oh, that looks a lot better. It's starting to look tidier out here." Now from her, that's quite an improvement. So, thanks for watching. Please do come back, like, subscribe, tell your friends, watch as much as you like. I will catch up with you soon. Take care.